Have an evolution.
Evolution.
Yeah, because that's like
Which
the coming up chapter for the exams. So
okay, 1 second, I'm sharing my screen too. So what is the doubt in evolution? Let's do it with NCRT only because you have the notes, right? Do you have the notes?
oh yeah, can you remember principal? Yeah,
Hmm?
yes, I do have the notes.
You have the notes, no? Can you wear
Yes.
earphones or something because I can't hear you at all? Okay, is there any specific part of evolution that you have a doubt in? Hmm? Any specific part of the whole entire chapter?
Yes, ma'am.
The whole entire chapter.
Specific topic.
Mention that topic in the chat box.
Ma'am, can you check the chat box?
I did. Yes, you send the thing in the chat box. You have the notes, I get that. Now send me the thing about the topics. Okay, Hardy-Weinberg principle. See, Hardy-Weinberg principle tells us about the equilibrium of the whole entire, you can say, natural selection. How that all the dominant alleles, the recessive alleles, and the like homozygous alleles alongside the heterozygous allele, they have a constant, you can say, system of being played. Understood? Now, when we talk about Hardy-Weinberg principle, it is the principle that explains to us about the various factors that could affect the genetic equilibrium. Understood? Let me just load on that page. So whenever we talk about Hardy-Weinberg principle, we're always talking in terms of a population. So basically, in the case of a population, what happens is that one can find out the frequency of occurrence of alleles of a genes or a locus, meaning at which point that particular allele will be present. This frequency is supposed to remain fixed and even remain the same through the generations. Meaning, for example, if there's a particular population in which there's a location on the chromosome or location on the gene where the tall height is found. Now, when that will be inherited by the next generation people will also be tall. The later on generation will have the same location of the gene and the same height. Understood? So this is what Hardy-Weinberg principle tells us in a mathematical. Okay, they have used mathematics in the field of biology by using algebraic equations. Okay, they use algebra. Now, this principle says that the allele frequency, what is frequency? The number of times that the alleles will occur in a population, it is going to be stable and it is going to be constant. Okay, the total genes, meaning the whole entire gene pool, meaning genes alongside their alleles in a specific population, it remains constant. Okay, this is what we mean by genetic equilibrium. That, for example, if certain genes are being transferred from one generation to another generation, that doesn't mean that, the next generation will have their own set of characters or own set of genes. No, they will have very much similar and exact, you can say, constant genes all throughout. This is what Hardy-Weinberg principle tells us. Okay, and also tells us that the sum total of all the allelic frequency. Yeah, am I audible, Muniba? Am I audible? Hello, Muniba, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I was saying that how in a population, the frequency of any gene occurring will be constant. So the sum of all the allelic frequency is 1. That signifies that it is a constant. Now, individual frequencies, for example, like if frequency one of a gene is P, of another gene is Q. So in a diploid situation, it becomes the P square and Q square. Now, the frequency of AA individuals in a population is simply P square. Okay, this is for the dominant case. And the recessive one, like small a, will be Q square. Okay, and that of a heterozygous situation will be 2PQ. So, with the, you can say binomial equation, they gave P square plus 2 square is equal, plus Q square is equal to 1. And they use the binomial expansion of P plus Q square, just like how there was A plus B whole square, right? Now, when frequencies are measured, right, different values come. Now, there are a lot of things that would, you can say, disturb this genetic equilibrium. Okay, the disturbance, obviously, if there's anything that would disturb the equilibrium, then the value will not come to be constant in the, you can say, population. And this is how the Hardy-Weinberg principle gets disturbed, or Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium gets disturbed. So now what are the things that could actually disturb it or affect it? So there are 5 factors that are known to affect the Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. These are, first, gene migration, which could also be called as gene flow. Now you only tell me, for example, if there's population A. Okay. Now, population A has people of height 5. Now, because the gene frequency is constant and it is same from one generation to another generation, so this is also going to be constant. But by chance, if any other population called as B population comes here, now don't you think that they'll have their own type of height or they'll have their own type of character? So this will change. The first thing is gene migration or gene flow. After that, we have genetic drift, mutation, genetic recombination, and natural selection. These are the 5 factors, and this is fixed. When you learn, you have to learn it this manner only. So there are 5 factors that are known to affect the Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. Now, when migration of a section of population to another place and population occurs, obviously gene frequency is going to change in the original population also, which was there, and the new one that was added, that in that one will also change. new genes or alleles are added to the new population and these are lost. So the old population meaning here there will be less genes, here there will be more genes. There will be a gene flow if this is happening multiple times. Okay, the first one, when it just happens like singularly and not multiple times, then that is gene migration. But if it keeps on happening several times, we'll call it as genetic drift. Sometimes the change in the allele frequency is so different in the new sample that they become a completely new set of species in themselves. They become a different species only. So the original drifted population, like that came from another place to a new place, that they become the founder. Okay, they become a new species, and all the members, they are called as the founders, and we call this particular phenomena as founders effect. Now, microbial experiments, they show that pre-existing advantageous mutations, when selected, will result in observation of new phenotypes. Obviously, if you think about it, right? Microbial experiment, you're working with microorganisms. So you're growing them on a large scale basis in a tiny Petri plate. So obviously they are going to bring new phenotypes and everything. So this will result in speciation. You can say, develop new species of that organism over the time. Natural selection is a process in which heritable variations enabling better survival, they are enabled to reproduce and leave greater number of progeny. A critical analysis makes us believe that variation due to mutation or variation due to recombination during gametogenesis, right? Variation means sexual reproduction leading to introduction of new character, right? And gametogenesis means the formation of gametes, or due to gene flow or genetic drift results in the change frequency of the genes in present and in the future generation as well. So they basically talk about how there are certain factors that would indeed affect the genetic equilibrium in any population and future generation of that population. Coupled to enhance reproductive success, natural selection makes it look like different population in itself. Natural selection can lead to stabilization either if you can say mean value is obtained. Okay, if like there are tall heighted people, there are small heighted people, but the ones that are medium heighted in between those two, that will be favored by the nature. More individuals will be in that height range. Then that is a stabilizing curve, which you see right in the middle, a stabilizing curve. When one type of character is considered more than the other type of character, then we call it as sort of, you can say, changing direction, right? It is towards the direction of whatever is the character that is favored. And when short-heighted are also taken into consideration and long ones are taken into consideration, so we call it as disruptive kind of the natural selection. So is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other topic that you have a doubt in this chapter? Because then we'll solve some questions related to this chapter so that we'll have more clarity about it.
Ma'am, the next two topics after this.
The next two topics. Account of evolution and evolution in humans.
Yes, ma'am.
When we talk about the account of evolution, see, basically in that we have to see how different life forms came to existence on Earth and then they gave rise to the next life form present. Now, when we talk about the different life forms, so initially you know that the first cellular life form was a unicellular organism. So about 2000 million years ago, the first cellular form of life, meaning a life that had a cell to begin with. So first, the cellular form of life came into existence 2000 million years ago. The mechanism of how non-cellular aggregates like proteins and stuff, how that evolved into living cells is not known. No one knows that how life came into existence. But the first cellular form of life came 2000 million years ago. Some of these cells had the ability to release oxygen. They were oxygenic. Okay. Now, furthermore, the reason could have been similar to light reaction, meaning out of those cellular aggregates that were there, some of them could perform photosynthesis and thereby release what? They can release oxygen. Meaning they were capturing the sunlight and using the sunlight, and they had pigments with the help of which they can do photosynthesis. Now, from the single cell organisms or the unicellular organisms, what happened? Then came the multicellular organisms. Now, when we talk about the multicellular organisms, then they had more cells in their body, right? And this time, now multicellular began with the invertebrates, that is the lower organisms. Understood? So when we talk about the multicellular organism, they amongst them the invertebrates, they came along 500 million years ago. Getting it?
Yes.
So they came 500 million years ago, and they very much flourished at that time. Now from the invertebrates, there came the jawless fish around 350 million years. And then at the same time, it's not that just the animals were evolving, the plants were evolving as well, right? So seaweed and few plants existed probably around 320 million years ago. Right now, initially, a lot of plants were aquatic, and the first organism that invaded the land much before the animals were in fact the plants. Now they were all around the, you can say, globe, right? They covered every inch because they were that many. So they widespread. And when the plants spread, then only the animals came into existence. Fish with stout and strong fins could move on land and could go back to the water as well. This was about 350 million years ago. In the year 1938, a fish was caught in South Africa, which was coelacanth. What is coelacanth? It was thought to be extinct earlier, but then it was found. These animals, called as lobe fins, they evolved into the amphibians later on. Like from them arose the amphibians, which had the property that they could live on land also. They could live inside the water also. But still, we don't have any specimens of coelacanth left today. Now, they were initially the modern day ancestors of the frogs and the salamanders. Why? Because of the dual life that they have. They could survive on land as well as inside the water. Now, the amphibians evolved into reptiles. They lay thick shelled eggs which do not dry up in the sun like those of amphibians. You know, amphibians' eggs cannot be laid on the land because their eggs are not covered by any hard shell. So they will dry up and be over. That is why you might have seen, or maybe you might have seen in pictures, that frogs, they always lay their eggs in the water. Again, today the modern day amphibians are, sorry, this thing. Furthermore, from the amphibians, the reptiles came into existence, right? We had the turtles, tortoises, and crocodiles. In the next 200 million years or so, different types of reptiles dominated the earth. During that time, a lot of pteridophytes, such as ferns, were also present. But slowly, as the time went by, they died, they fell, and they became compressed and fossilized to become fossil fuel, to become coal. Now, some of these land reptiles went back into the water and they became fish-like reptiles. That is around 200 million years ago. One such example of that organism is ichthyosaurs. The land reptiles during that time were very, very huge. The biggest one was T-Rex, Tyrannosaurus rex, which was the dinosaur. And it was about 20 feet in height and had huge, fearsome dagger-like teeth. And they ate everything, every living organism, right? All the humans, like if the humans came into their vicinity. But by this time, humans might have not been evolved because we are talking about the lower organisms. About 65 million years ago, the dinosaurs suddenly disappeared from the earth. The true reason is not known, but some of them, like some of the reasons that explain the death of dinosaurs would be climate changes. Some say that they have evolved and become birds, and others like don't even know. Right? Some small size reptiles of that era still exist today. The first, now coming on to the mammals. Now the mammals started being evolved. So the first mammal, they were like shrews, tiny, even smaller than mouses. Their fossils are small size. Mammals were viviparous and they protected their unborn inside the mother's body, right? They were those organisms that gave birth. Mammals were more intelligent, right? They sensed their environment, they avoided the danger, and when the reptiles came down, meaning when the population of reptiles decreased, then the population of mammals increased a lot. Now, few mammals that were found in South America, they resembled horses, hippopotamus, bear, rabbit, etc. Now, when the continental drift happened, meaning when by chance the piece of the land was drifted, and when South America joined North America, these animals, they were overridden by North American fauna, meaning all those animals that were found on the North American area, they overrode them, meaning they were so much more in population that the South American fauna became less. Due to the same continental drift, pouched mammals, marsupials, right, of Australia, they survived. Why? Because since they had been in a different continent in itself and they had no competition from any other mammal, so they survived and flourished. We still have them today. Lest we forget, some mammals lived in water. So they were the aquatic mammals, such as the whales, the dolphins, seals, and sea cows are some examples. Evolution of horse, elephant, dog are special stories of evolution, but the best story of evolution is how the human evolved, because we have language, we have self-consciousness. These are the two things that are profoundly found in mammals, intellect in it. So now talking about how the origin and evolution of human beings took place or man took place. So around 15 million years ago, primates such as Dryopithecus and Ramapithecus, they were existing. What was their characteristic? They were hairy, right? They had hair because they were mammals. So obviously they had hair all on their body. Furthermore, they used to like walk like gorilla, okay? And chimpanzees, just like how gorillas and chimpanzees walk, they use their front limbs also to walk. Ramapithecus, out of the Dryopithecus and Ramapithecus was more man-like, whereas Dryopithecus was more ape-like. Few fossils of man-like bones have been discovered in Ethiopia and Tanzania. These reveal hominid features, meaning human-like features, leading to the belief that around 3 to 4 million years ago, man-like primates, they were present in the Eastern Africa. Then they were not probably taller than 4 feet, but they had this property to walk upright. 2 million years ago, Australopithecines, these lived in East African grasslands. Now they were the ones, now you see a more, you can say, profound evolution, that they started hunting. Okay, they hunted with stone weapons, but their diet mainly consists of fruits. Some of the bones among the bones discovered, they were different, and this like became very much human-like creature. So we call them as hominid and call them as Homo habilis. Okay, they were very much human-like. The brain capacities, now they had cranial capacities instead. What is cranial capacity? The capacity of the human brain. So that was there. Okay, which was around 650 to 800 cc. Okay, cc means cranial capacity or brain capacity. Now, they also did not eat meat. Their fossils were discovered, and later on, another type of fossil was discovered in Java in the year 1891 that revealed a next type of clan. What was it? Homo erectus. Now, they were found around 1.5 million years ago, and they had a larger human, like brain size or the cranial capacity. That was 900 cc. Homo erectus, now they started to eat meat. Okay, then came the Neanderthal man that had a brain size of 1400 cc. Now they lived near East and Central Asia between 1 lakh to 40,000 years back. Now imagine they had such a brain, like huge brain size. Now they had developed a property wherein they could, you can say, uh, they had this consciousness about hiding their bodies, how it is right to hide their bodies, and they used to bury their dead. Homo sapiens, they arose in Africa. Now, many people, like many a times in MCQ, you will find questions like, which place is the place of origination of humans? So you should know that it is Africa. Now they were found, they evolved and moved across continents and developed into distinct races. During Ice Age, between 75,000 to 10,000 years ago, like modern Homo sapiens, they arose. Now they had prehistoric cave art. They wherever like they used to live in the cave, and they had some sort of cave art. So this cave art developed 18,000 years ago. One such cave paintings by prehistoric human, it is present in Bhimbetka rock shelter in Raisen district of Madhya Pradesh. Okay, let's see. I'll show you the picture of how they used to do the cave paintings, which told us a lot of stories about. Can you see the picture?
Yes, ma'am.
See, this is how, what can you depict? Maybe they're going on some sort of fight because everyone is on horses and they have some sort of weapon in their hands, isn't it? So this is actually a real thing which is found in Bhimbetka Rock Center in Raisen district. Okay, there you can see this cave art which was made by prehistoric human beings. So this was a form of art and expression that people had earlier. One such cave painting, okay, Raisen district of Madhya Pradesh. Now, which place? This is also very important. Raisen district of Madhya Pradesh, important. Now, the around 10,000 years ago, agriculture came into existence. People started cultivating plants, and human settlement started then and there. Meaning now people started to make houses. Houses means like how they used to gather sticks and hay and stuff, and they used to build their homes. So the rest of what happened is a history. Understood? The human evolution is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
See, mostly the kind of questions they will ask you, that they'll ask you to match the following of or to explain about the cranial capacity. So however many cranial capacities are given, you learn those. They can ask you to describe how evolution of human beings took place. So you name all of them. And one line also you can write. It will be more than. Understood?
All right, ma'am.
So I hope this topic is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let's solve some questions of this. so that it becomes even more clearer. One second, sharing with you. This chapter is before microbes in human welfare, right? Hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Trying to take out the NCRT questions so that we can start with basic NCRT and then move forward. One second, I'm sharing it. I found it. Can you see the screen?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
I will solve them and then we'll discuss these questions together.
Done, ma'am. Done. Done now. Done now. Done now. Done. Done, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
All right. Okay, let us discuss the answers. So the first one, which of the following is used as an atmospheric pollution indicator?
Lighting.
Very good. Like, right? Because they can't grow in which type of area? Hmm? They can't grow in SO2 rich area. Mostly when there is pollution present, the SO2 amount increases a lot. SO2 means sulfur dioxide. So that is why lichen would not grow in those areas and those areas will be polluted. So that will indicate you that the pollution is more. The theory of spontaneous generation stated that
Life can arise from non-living things.
very animal husbandry and plant breeding programs, they are the examples of
Artificial selection.
very good. Artificial selection. Why? Because human intervening is there in these cases, right? Human beings are selecting a superior variety, crossing them and doing all sorts of things. So that is why. Paleontological evidence for evolution refers to the
Fossils.
fossils. Right? The study of fossil only is called as paleontology. The bones of forelimbs of whale, bat, cheetah, and man, they are similar in structure. Why?
Because they share a common ancestry.
Hmm. And are they same in function?
No.
No, they're not same in function. Okay. Analogous organs arise due to which type of evolution?
Convergent.
Which one? Convergent or divergent?
Convergent. The last one.
Ah, convergent. Very good because they have all have same like different structures, but they come and do the same function for them. That is convergent evolution. Then we have P plus Q ka whole square. This represents an equation used in
Population genetics.
very appearance of antibiotic resistant bacteria is an example of
Pre-existing variation in the population.
very evolution of life shows that life forms they had a trend from moving from
What
where to
water to land.
water to land. Viviparity is considered to be more evolved. Why? Why is it better?
C. Third option.
Which one?
The third one.
Hmm. Fossils are generally found in
Sedimentary rocks.
yes, because they get sedimented down. Okay. For the Mn blood group system, the frequencies of M and N alleles are this. The expected frequency of Mn blood group organism is likely to be
42%.
how? How did you take it out? Tell me.
By the equation of P square plus 2PQ plus Q square is equals to 1.
Hmm. Using that equation, you took it out.
Yeah.
So which one of them you took as this thing? Dominant.
0.7 M.
Yeah, answer is correct. Which type of selection explains industrial melanism observed in moth? Piston Betularia. This is the name of the moth. Which type?
Directional.
Huh? Directional. Why directional? Why was it directional?
I'm not sure. I think it's artificial or some sort.
See, the reason why it was directional is because one type of moth was being favored in either of the situation. Pre-industrialization and post-industrialization, the mean value was not selected. Both of them were not selected. Only one kind. Either the melanized moth was selected or the white moth was selected. That is why it is directional. Understood?
Okay.
Okay. The most accepted line of descent in human evolution is
C.
correct. Which of the following is an example for linked species?
A.
Hmm.
No.
Lobefish. Match the scientist under column 1 with 2.
Option B.
Option B. B means A का fourth evolution by natural selection, Darwin. B, you're saying?
Yeah, the second one.
Yeah. In 1953, S.L. Miller created primitive earth conditions. So what are the conditions that he took?
The last option. High temperature.
Mhm. He took high temperature volcanic storms into consideration, reducing atmosphere of the early Earth that had ammonia and this thing, methane in it. Variations during mutations of meiotic recombinations. They are what kind of nature?
Random and directionalness.
Random and directionless. Very. So I hope now there is no doubt since you were able to solve all the questions correctly. So no doubts?
Yes, sir. No, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Now is there any other chapter?
No, ma'am.
No. And when do you have your examination?
Well, they didn't give the dates, but they gave the portion to us.
They haven't given you the portion.
They gave the portion, not the dates.
Achha. Okay. And what is the portion?
Human health and disease, microbes and human welfare,
Hmm.
biotechnology, both the chapters.
Oh, we haven't done biotechnology questions. Is there, like they haven't given a date, right? Okay, now let's do the biotechnology question. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Uh,
Now I've done these questions before.
we have done these questions.
Yes.
Uh, Is there any other chapter you want to like do this questions of?
The next chapter, biotechnology and its applications.
This one, what you want to do the questions?
This is principles. I want to do it for the applications.
This is applications only, na? Applications you have done.
Yeah.
This is done.
Yeah, this is done.
Okay. Principles is not done.
Yes.
Okay. One second. Can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am. Done, 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 ma'am.